Imagine you have just crossed the threshold. Not in the dramatic Hollywood sense. In the way the threshold actually arrives, quietly, on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. A car accident, a heart that decided it was done, a breath that simply did not return. You did not see it coming. Nobody ever does. Now imagine that instead of darkness, instead of light, instead of any of the things you were told to expect, you find yourself standing in a place that has no walls and no ceiling. There is someone standing next to you. They are not what you imagined God would look like. They are not what you imagined anyone would look like. But somehow you know who they are. They turn to you and explain that you are going to be reincarnated. You nod. You expected this. Reincarnation is in half the religions in your textbook. Then they tell you, calmly, almost apologetically, that in your next life, you will be a Chinese peasant girl in the year 540. You stop. You start to ask the obvious question. But before you can speak, they tell you something else. In a previous life, you were a Roman soldier. In another life, you were the man who once cut you off in traffic and made you swear out loud. In another, you were a person history remembers with horror. In another, you were one of the millions whose names that person took. You will live every life that has ever been lived. Every one, in every century, in every body, as every gender, on every continent, including, the voice says, the lives of every person you have ever loved and every person you have ever hated. This is the story of 1,000 words that broke something and rebuilt it inside millions of human minds. A story written in a single afternoon, posted to a forgotten blog, and accidentally allowed to become one of the most shared pieces of short fiction of the 21st century. It is called The Egg. And by the end of this video, you may never look at a stranger the same way again. The door that won't quite close. Before we get to the story, we need to talk about what actually happens when a human being crosses the threshold. Because what science has learned in the last 20 years has quietly made the boundary between life and the after much, much stranger than we used to think. Until recently, doctors believed the crossing happened in a moment. The heart stopped, the brain followed, a clean line, like flipping a switch. But in 2022, a team in Canada was preparing to remove the life support of an 87-year-old patient. The man had suffered multiple cardiac events. They had electrodes attached to his scalp for an unrelated diagnostic. And then, while the team was still in the room, the patient simply slipped away. The electrodes kept recording. What they captured changed how neurologists talk about the final minutes of human consciousness. For almost a full minute after his heart stopped beating, his brain was still producing rhythmic, coordinated electrical activity. Not random firing, not noise, patterns, and not just any patterns. Gamma waves, the same kind of brain activity that happens during vivid dreaming, during deep memory retrieval, during moments of intense imagination. In other words, for at least 60 seconds after he was clinically gone, this man's brain was doing something that, in any other context, we would have called thinking. A clean ending turned out not to be clean at all. There is now serious research suggesting that the fading brain may compress a lifetime of memory into its final minutes. A flash flood of images, a private, internal cinema. The face of a parent. The sentence someone said in 1987 that you have not consciously remembered in 30 years, playing through one last time, in a theater of one, for an audience that is about to leave. If this is real, and the science is still wide open on this, then every human who has ever crossed took an entire movie with them. Billions of films, none of them rated, none of them archived, none of them seen by anyone else, ever. That is a strange and lonely thought. It is also where this story begins. Because if the crossing is not the clean line we thought it was, if the door takes a long time to close, and if the mind keeps unfolding even as the body lets go, then maybe what we have been calling an ending is not one at all. Maybe it's a question we have never been brave enough to ask. The blog post that wouldn't die. In 2009, a software engineer in California sat down at his desk on a quiet afternoon and wrote a 1,000-word short story. He was not a famous writer. He was not even at the time a writer at all. He had a day job debugging software. He wrote fiction in his spare hours, mostly to entertain himself, and he posted the results on a personal blog that almost nobody read. You would know his name today, but not because of this story. 6 years later, he would write a novel about an astronaut stranded on Mars that became a Matt Damon movie. In 2009, though, he was a quiet programmer with a small blog and a strange idea he could not stop turning over in his head. He titled the story, "The Egg." He posted it. He went to bed. He woke up the next morning to find that something unusual had happened in the comment section. Within a week, the story had been copy-pasted to forums he had never heard of. Within a month, it had been translated, without his permission, into 5 languages. Within a year, it was being read aloud at memorial services in 3 countries. By 2025, it had been translated into more than 30 languages. The animated version on this very platform had passed 40 million views. Soldiers had read it before deployment. Monks had quoted it during Dharma talks. Skeptics had brought it up in arguments about meaning. A grieving father had read it at his daughter's memorial in a tone so steady that his wife later said it was the only moment that week she did not fall apart. No publisher, no marketing, no franchise. 1,000 words, one afternoon. How does a story posted to a half-empty blog quietly become one of the most shared pieces of short fiction of the 21st century? The answer turns out to be a clue. And the clue is not about writing. It is about how the human brain processes a certain kind of idea. The story itself, you have already heard the opening. A man crosses over. He meets a vague figure. He is told he will be reincarnated as a peasant girl in the year 540. Here's what happens next. The man understandably has questions. He asks the figure what he was before this life. He is told he was a Roman soldier. He asks what comes after the peasant girl. He is told it does not matter. Because time, the figure explains, only behaves the way you think it does while you are inside a universe. From the outside, all of it is happening at once. The man tries again. He asks how many lives he will live. The figure answers that he will live every life that has ever been or ever will be lived on Earth. The man does the math. Billions of lives. And then the figure tells him the line that has been quietly rearranging human minds for 16 years. In all of human history, the figure says, only one soul has ever existed, and that soul is yours. Every emperor, every kitchen worker, every saint, every tyrant, every infant who lived for 11 days and slipped away from fever, every person you have ever met on the bus, every person you have ever loved, every person you have ever wanted to forget, all of them are you. Different costumes, different centuries, same soul, walking through the entire museum of human experience, one life at a time, slowly becoming whatever it is the figure says you will eventually become. This is the moment something unusual happens inside the brain of every person who reads the story carefully. A category in the mind that has been locked since childhood. The wall between me and everyone else develops a hairline crack. For most people, the crack closes again within a few minutes. For some, the ones the story actually finds, it never quite closes again. Why this particular crack? There is a name in cognitive science for the wall the egg cracks. It is called the self-other distinction. It is one of the most fundamental boundaries the human brain draws. And we begin drawing it around the age of 18 months, when a child first recognizes the face in the mirror as their own. Once that line is drawn, it almost never goes away. Except occasionally, in 2 situations. The first is what neuroscience calls deep perspective taking. The moment a person, often in therapy or in long meditation, briefly stops experiencing themselves as separate from the people around them. Stanford brain imaging studies have shown that during these moments, the medial prefrontal cortex, the brain's self region, fires almost identically when subjects think about themselves and when they think about someone they have come to deeply understand. The second is what fiction does when it works. A well-built story bypasses the brain's normal caution and slips a foreign perspective directly into your point of view system. For a few seconds, you are the murderer. You are the orphan. You are the king. Your sensory cortex lights up as if the events on the page are happening to you. Your empathy circuits, designed by evolution to keep track of about 150 people, are forced, gently, against their natural settings, to extend across millions. The egg weaponizes this, not in a manipulative way, in a generous way. It forces the brain to perform for the length of 1,000 words, a maneuver that the brain almost never performs on its own. It collapses the entire in-group, out-group distinction. The person who hurt you is you. The person you hurt is you. The crying infant on the news from a country you have never been to is you. The person you would never invite to dinner is you. The firefighter who ran into the building is also you. Suddenly there is no them. There is only a very old story you have not yet finished telling yourself. This is not religion. It is closer to a philosophical position called open individualism, proposed by the philosopher Daniel Kolak in 2004. He argued, with technical philosophical machinery, that there might genuinely be only one conscious subject in the universe, that what we call you and I and they are local expressions of a single subject of experience, the way one ocean expresses itself in millions of waves. You do not have to believe this. The argument is philosophical, not empirical, and very few academic philosophers find it persuasive. But here is the strange part. Science has not been able to refute it either. Because consciousness, the simple fact that there is something it is like to be a human being, is the single hardest problem in modern philosophy of mind. We do not know what it is. We do not know where it comes from. We do not know whether it is multiple, or one, or neither. For now, the question is open. And into that open space, in 2009, a software engineer posted 1,000 words. The experiment you can actually run. Here is the part most retellings of this story leave out. You do not have to believe any of it. Whether the story is right, whether open individualism is right, whether reincarnation is real or imagined or somewhere in between, the useful part of this idea has nothing to do with metaphysics. The useful part is a technique, a small daily mental discipline you can run on yourself like a program. Behavioral psychologists call it perspective taking, and the research on it is unusually clear. A team led by researchers at the University of Toronto ran a 4-week study with participants who were instructed to spend 2 minutes a day imagining the inner life of a person they found difficult or unsympathetic. Not forgiving them, not excusing them, simply imagining what it might be like to be them, their childhood, their fears, the version of the day they were having when they did the thing that bothered you. After 4 weeks, participants showed an average 12% increase in measured empathy scores. Some showed dramatic gains. The technique cost them nothing. It required no training. It required only imagination. This is the gift hidden inside the egg. It is a permission slip, wrapped in a story, to do this exercise without feeling foolish. Because once you have read the story, even casually, even skeptically, the next time you are stuck behind a slow driver, or arguing with a stranger online, or struggling with a public figure who frustrates you, a small voice in the back of your skull asks the question the writer put there: what if that person is you? Not in a religious sense, not necessarily even in a literal sense, but as a thought experiment, as a hypothesis your brain runs in the background. What if, for a second, your nervous system flinches, your shoulders drop a half-inch, the cortisol you are about to release into your bloodstream stalls, and you are, almost despite yourself, a slightly kinder version of the person you were 5 seconds ago. This is the entire point. A great story is not a thing you believe. It is a tool you can use, and the tool the egg hands you is small enough to fit in your pocket and powerful enough to rearrange how you live the rest of your day. Nobody knows what really waits on the other side. Science cannot tell you. Religion gives you contradictory answers. Philosophy keeps pointing out that the question may not even be well-formed, but every tradition, every single one, agrees on one small, quiet thing. What you do here, in this life, in the short window between the day you woke up and the day you won't, does not vanish when you stop. It travels, In the children who watched you when you did not realize they were watching. In the small things you said, on the small days you did not think mattered. In the ripples where nervous system left in other nervous systems. Maybe a 1,000-word story posted on a personal blog in 2009 is one of those traces. Maybe a soldier reading that story in a forward operating base, the night before something terrible happened, found a small, steady place to stand inside it. Maybe a grieving father read it at his daughter's memorial and said the words steadier than he could say his own name. Maybe this video is one of those traces too. You will never know which of the small things you do today is the one that survives you. Most of them won't. One of them might. Tomorrow, sometime between now and the next person you almost lose your temper at. Try the small experiment the writer slipped into the world 16 years ago. Look at the person in front of you. The one who is irritating you. The one who is failing you. The one whose face you are about to forget the moment you walk away from this conversation. And just for 10 seconds, run the question. What if this person is me, in another life I have not lived yet? What if every difficult human I have ever met was me, learning something I was not ready to learn? What if the soul of the stranger at the coffee shop, and the soul of the child crying on the train yesterday, and my own soul? What if all of them are, in some way, the language of science cannot yet describe? The same soul, walking through the entire museum of human life, slowly becoming whatever a soul is supposed to become. You do not have to believe it. Just run the experiment, just for 10 seconds, just once today, and see what happens. Because the strangest thing about the egg, the detail people forget to mention, is not that it is comforting. It is not. It is, if you sit with it long enough, deeply uncomfortable. It demands something. It asks you to be kind to the person you least want to be kind to. And that is also, possibly, why it works. The threshold is a door. But maybe what waits on the other side is not emptiness. Maybe it is not a kingdom. Maybe it is not even God. Maybe what waits on the other side is a mirror. And the face in the mirror has been every face you ever met.